Why you gotta be like that? Okay.
Why gotta be
Hello,
like that?
hello, my lovey, and welcome. Welcome. I am here with Carole Filion, and we are talking about why it's tricky to assume you know what others are thinking. And I'm guilty of this as well. Carole, you're perfect, so I know you don't do this. But when
Have you met
we
me?
think when we think we know the other person's intent, subtext, uh, reason for whatever they're saying, spouting, accusing, making you feel defensive, step back a second and get curious because
Mm,
they could have low blood sugar. They could they could have just gotten some news that makes them grumpolumpagus. And
yeah.
aside from that, they could also kind of perhaps be mean spirited that day and all days, really. And that's on them, not you. What do you think, Carole?
Oh my gosh. I think so many things, but we all wage a great battle, don't we?
Yes,
Right? At the end of the
100%.
day, it's always what it's about. So when somebody is going through something, they're either coming from a position of fear or they're coming from a position of lack and we very often when we're especially when I'm not going to get into 7 levels of awareness, but when we're kind of in this like animal sort of reactionary sort of thing, right? It's just like it's this knee jerk thing and going, "Hey, don't talk to me like that, blah blah blah," right? I mean,
Yeah,
we dig in as opposed to what you were saying. It's just to, whoa, take a beat because there's a
yeah,
thing called the law of polarity. The opposite exists in everything,
yeah,
right? There'd be no hot if there was no cold, and so on and so forth. So,
yeah.
what's the polar opposite reaction we could have? And I remember reading this and hearing about this years ago, and it always stuck with me. And that Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, Sandy had come to him and said that she was struggling. She was having some issues like business issues and was going through a messy divorce and all that stuff. And she was asking Bob, like, what do I do? And
Mhm.
he said, well, it's actually pretty simple. Says you write down 10 things you're grateful for every morning and send love to the people that bother you.
And
Right?
that's your favorite part of the advice then, Carole, is sending love to the
Right?
people who are annoying the bejesus Pete's out of you?
Right? But
Yeah,
lo and behold, ain't that the way? Because when we get into even in our thinking, right? How many times do we go through the whole scenario? They said this. Oh, I should have said that. We think of it 2 days later, right? I should have
right.
said that. I should have come back with this. I should have come back with that. And then as we go through this, we relive it in the 6-inch field, right?
Right.
And then we feel it everywhere in our body. It's in our throat. It's in our gut. It's in our
Exactly.
stomach. Right? Everything
And
tightens up.
another like negative of rumination, aside from the perpetual anxiety, it just puts you on a Ferris wheel of anxiety, is that you are rehearsing and telling your brain that that's what you want. You want to
Yeah.
feel hurt, indignant, disrespected, like whatever it was. As
Mhm,
you think about this over and over again, all
mhm,
your brain is getting, haha, that's what you
mhm.
want. We will find you more. And that's
Yeah.
why you're going to notice when things are going poorly, and I've even
Mm.
consciously thought of that. This isn't all subconscious, but I've been like, well, I know that there are still good things out there. Why am I only noticing the craptastic things? Well,
Right.
it's because I'm in a craptastic frame of mind. And so that's what
Mhm.
I'm going to notice. So all the stuff
Yeah.
is out there, good, bad, and
Mm.
different. It's just that when we are in one sort of mindset, we're going to notice if we're joyous, we're going to notice the joy. If we're irritated and ticked off, we're going to notice the negative.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and why not give yourself the gift of assuming that everyone is doing the best they can with the tools they have? And that there will
Bing.
be some people who do bad things, hurtful
Mhm,
things, whatever, judgment value you want to put on it.
mhm,
And that's them. And
mm,
you retain your humanity by responding as you want to, not the knee
Right.
jerk reaction. Let that
Mhm.
happen, let it fly away. Because
Yep.
that is gonna be defensive. It's going to be go for the jugular. It's typically not gonna be let's have compassion and empathy, or let's just blow this off. You
Right.
know? And
Right.
it
Oh,
might
for
not be, I'm
sure.
not saying you always have to blow it off. You can say, "Oh, interesting. I'm hearing that you think I'm a maroon because I don't do it X, Y, or Z way like you're just talking about. Is that really what you
Mhm.
mean? Help me understand."
Right. Right, exactly, and that's getting into a conversation because the whole rumination thing too that you were talking about, that also taps into a certain level of addiction, right? We get addicted to the drama. We get so
Yes.
addicted to it, right? Ooh, yeah, give me more, give me more. It's drama. It's so much drama, and oh my gosh, and right, we dig into that. So, having mentioned the law of polarity earlier, then why not get addicted to the joy? Why not get
Yes.
addicted to the love, sending them love, getting addicted to doing the polar opposite of what they expect.
I
Like,
love it.
I know I counseled I coached a client on this when she was going through a messy divorce, and I said the exact same thing that Bob had told Sandy and said, what if in your next conversation you say, "Listen, despite all of this, I have absolute gratitude that for the way that you looked after our family with this money that we're fighting over right now." And he was floored. He was
Yeah.
floored because it was the polar opposite. He was not expecting this.
Right.
It's like, just so we're clear, I'm deeply grateful for this. Yeah,
Yep.
albeit it's contentious, I'm deeply grateful that it looked after all of us.
Right.
And
And,
and that
and
was like he was not expecting it at all. So what if we started doing more of that?
that
More
would be
of, "Hey, I
gorgeous.
hear you," right? It's
And
not, yeah,
we
Pollyanna,
we
but
have I I just want to say we have to understand that the endorphins we get from
Mm,
being at peace,
mm,
content, loving, let's sharpen those up and train ourselves to really appreciate that charge so that it doesn't have
mhm.
to be that hard. What did you say? Oh, I'm ready to
Yeah,
go to battle. And then you know what else happened? And no, 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 no. And okay, great. So your pulse is racing. You're ready to fight. You got it
yeah,
all going on. You're bringing the receipts. And
yeah,
for what?
yeah. Yeah. Because the good news is with all of that is that the first time, I mean, initially she looked at me like I had 3 heads, right? And went, "You want me to do what now?" Listen, it's just a suggestion. And she still says it. Listen, it was easier said than done. But once I did it, I felt so good that I wanted more of that good feeling. So she still had a charge
Yeah.
whenever there was any kind of confrontation over whatever detail they were tripping over, but it got easier and easier and easier to do it because what you're doing is you're bringing the volume down on that knee jerk reaction, on that fight or flight, that because there's nothing wrong with stress. Stress pushes us into action, no doubt about
Right.
it, but we need to be selective about, okay, now I'm fighting the clock. I need to meet this deadline. Okay, that's fair. Let the stress ride you through that, give you the fuel for it. But very often, a lot of our stress is unnecessary and it's actually self inflicted, I find.
Uh
Right.
self-inflicted trauma. And honestly,
Right.
there's really no other kind because we choose how to react, or not, we don't choose our reaction. We choose how to respond. And rather
Yeah.
than, "Ooh, this is juicy. Tell me all about it." It can be like, maybe they're going through a tough time. I don't want to hear the deets. And then bring
Sending
up what
love.
you
Bless and
yeah,
release.
and then talk about what you do want to discuss. Maybe you really want to iron out plans for you and the other person to, I don't know, take a walk, go to lunch, coffee,
Mhm.
whatever.
Mm.
But
Yep.
there's know in your heart what you're going to feed yourself and make sure that you have that available. It's just like with
Yeah.
diet. We plan for success. We meal plan, we have the food that we need to nourish our bodies, and we
Yep.
don't keep the junk,
Yeah.
or we tell ourselves that's not for us right now.
Yep. You clean out the cupboard. If it's not
Exactly.
there, then you won't reach for it.
And so if you can clean out your psychological cupboard, clean out
Mm,
the delight in others' misfortune,
mm,
whether that's, yeah, like right now in the news, it's a big thing.
yeah.
A lot of positions are being eliminated in the United States federal government. And that
Mhm,
what could very well wind up being a good thing. But for the people who've been at these
mm,
institutions for a couple years, whether it's years or months or decades,
mhm.
it doesn't feel great for them. So it doesn't
Right,
cost us anything to recognize that there are people experiencing the repercussions of something that's in a headline, for instance.
right, right. Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, and what I'm glad you brought that up. What better time to be letting love well up and pour out into our world, because there's always going to be opposite sides, and there're going to be
Mhm.
people with different points of view and different perceptions. And and
Yeah.
perception is it's that's a gift, right? It's one of those higher faculties that sets us apart in the animal kingdom. So
It's true.
how we perceive a certain situation and how we perceive another human being, that's entirely in our control. So
It
why
really
not
is.
why not grab the reins and go, hang on, this is another human, flesh and bones, right? With their own story, their own set of circumstances, their own background, their own pain, their own love, their own joy. And
Right.
I think if we can just kind of level the playing field, or at least come to the table with that perception that all things being equal, i.e., all of us being human, then we can have a discussion, and it's okay to agree to disagree. Period.
100%. And for those of you listening and saying like, puff, puff, give, Mel, if I want to tear somebody's head off, then there's just no space for me to stay calm and, have compassion for them or wish them well or, put myself in their shoes, blah, blah, blah. All these things that are so cliched, but true. Okay. Well, work on that. Work on when
Mhm.
you have that emotion tsunami, whether
Yep.
it's you want to attack them back or
Mhm.
whatever your strong emotional reaction is. Work on noticing it's like, haha, here come these feelings, they're coming upon me, they're not
Mhm.
you, and they can
Mhm.
wash away. And so
Yeah.
that when they do come upon you, you can be like, okay, well, how do I want to react to that? Pick your
Yeah.
actor who's going to play the part of you in the movie of your life, and what choice would that actor make? Like another way to do it is, what in 5 years, what does future Mel think would be a really great thing to have done here?
Love it. And you said the operative word right there, choice. Understand that you control your reaction.
Yes.
You you. When we point the finger, we get 3 pointing back at us.
Right. Well, and
We have a
also
choice,
we
always.
absolutely have a choice, and it also goes not just for emotion but for thoughts. And no matter what your mama
Mm.
told you, everything you think isn't true, because we put together things that make sense to us through our lens and our perspective. And like, of course they meant to do that. There's just absolutely no way possible that couldn't have been intentional. Well,
Yeah.
what if there was? Because
Yeah.
God forbid, don't judge me by every word that comes out of my mouth, because I'm muddling along just like everybody else.
Right? Right? Aren't we all? Amen.
Yes. 100%.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
consider intention as well, because just because someone has a scowl on their face, it could be they're squinting into the sun. It could be that they're like trying not to sneeze. Like, just give it a benign, neutral reason, and let that. brain work for you and not pull you along into some drama rama.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just said another operative word, neutral, right? Look at it as neutral. And what meaning are you infusing into it? What does that mean for you? And so, right? I mean, that's really the only thing. All things are neutral. Events are neutral. It's the meaning that we attach to it. That's what creates the charge. It's like, there's the ground and then the positive and the negative and then a kaboom.
Yeah, 100%. And we get to steer the ship. We're the CEO of all of this. And
Mm,
even if you struggle with mental health like I do, and I've been having a hell of a time, we
mm.
still get to consider, okay, is that depression talking? Okay, depression, get out of the car. At least get in the back seat, zip it.
Yeah, I
you,
love
you
it.
know, and we can
Yes.
recognize, like, oh, here comes my anxiety. How you doing, old friend? Back seat.
Mhm.
And
Backseat. Yeah.
anticipate
Love it.
that, plan for it, and
Mhm.
know. And this isn't easy, and I struggle with this because I
Mm.
mean, there are times I want to jump out of my freaking skin because I've got so much emotion buzzing through me that I can't even hear, you know. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. Yeah. 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 And
uh,
it's real. It is happening.
true.
But here you have the tools to go, "Whoa, hang on. Hang on. Where am I going? Hang on. Oh, the tool belt. You,
Yes.
backseat. You, quiet. I'll give you 5 minutes in 5 minutes time. You, come here." Right? It
Absolutely.
kind of it's like that conversation that goes on with the different, versions of ourselves, right? And there are several versions of ourselves. Of course. That's what
Absolutely.
causes these things when we have someone and I wake up one day, I'm in a pissy mood. I say something to my partner and go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what the?" It's got nothing to do with him. It's me. But
Yeah.
right? It's these things that there's we have several versions of ourselves, but the beauty is that especially for someone like you and all of us, right, that do the work that are and it's a constant thing, isn't it, Mel?
Oh yeah.
We are constantly working at it. None of us as coaches have all the answers. Our superpowers are to help you find your answers, to go digging
Right.
into your tool belt and your toolbox and go, okay, hang on. Here are your strengths. Here are things that maybe you could work on. Let's
Mhm.
look at all of these things. And that's the beauty of it. It's a beautiful game. The
It
whole thing
is.
is
Oh, I
just
love
this gorgeous game that we just get to play. I
right.
mean, we're such a it's a speck in the universe. We're a
Oh my
speck.
gosh, it so is. And like whether it's grounding tools, whether it's pausing, breathing, there's so many different tools. Reach out to someone. It doesn't have to be me or
Yeah,
Carol, but
yeah,
you're welcome to. But like reach out and
yeah,
educate yourself and find the stuff that will
absolutely.
help you.
Yeah.
Because if you are hanging around in that Schadenfreude kind of circumstance where everybody's
Mm,
like, can you believe? Oh
right.
my God, oh, clutch my
Yeah,
pearls.
yeah.
What is that doing for you? Is that
Right.
how you want to live? And if it is, fly
Mhm.
your flag, rock
Yeah,
and roll.
yeah,
But I maintain that we can have more joy and more elevation in our lives
yeah.
if we and when we are able to keep those reactions from running the show.
Love it. Reach higher. Always reach higher. Better is such an amazing word. Better is a
Yeah.
great word. Reach for better. I mean, when you think that you're the average of the 5 people that are closest to you,
Yep.
look around, take a poll. And if you're the average, then and you're not liking it, you don't like where you're at, reach higher. It's okay.
Yeah.
Reach higher. Oh, I can't remember who it was that just said this, and it was so beautiful that when, I think it was Carol Dweck that wrote Mindset. It said, when you ask for help, you're giving the other person the opportunity to mentor you.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah.
Right? And I thought, "Oh my gosh," when we all shy away from it, right? With, "Oh, I don't wanna ask for help, I'll look needy." No, you're giving them an opportunity to serve, to
Right.
be a mentor to you. Of course, everybody loves to do that.
Right. Right.
So,
And if you I
go
was going to
ahead.
say, if you feel like a broken record and that
Mhm.
you're always asking for help, get curious about that. What are
Yeah.
you asking for help about?
Mhm.
Is it childcare? Is it support through a crisis? Are you always in crisis? Do you
Mm.
need to always be in crisis? How did that help resolve the situation? If it did, because
Yeah.
it might not have helped anything and it might have made it worse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
enough
Or
about me. I
Or I was just gonna add to that is that if you're asking different people the same thing
Yeah,
and you're always getting the same answer, but you're asking somebody different in the hopes of getting a different answer,
yeah.
it's time to start listening to the first 3 that maybe sounded like a broken record and told you. It's time to maybe kinda, "Oh, hang on a second. Okay, what do you mean by that?"
Yeah. You know,
Expand.
and we have this amazing gift that we can share exactly what we're thinking, but we have to find the language for it.
Yeah.
Luckily, they sell uh emotional wheel pillows so that you've got the every like shade of angry, sadness,
Oh my
happiness,
god. I need
you
to find
know.
where those I need to find one.
Seriously, they're great. They're
I
absolutely
love it.
great because it is confusing. And when you can name your emotion, you're
Mm,
immediately othering it. It's not combined into your DNA, it's not everything about you.
beautiful.
And then you can release that to figure out how you want to respond. I swear,
Amazing.
if I can do it, believe me, because I was a hot wreck for decades, you can do it too. Carol, thank you so much for joining me.
Mel, always a pleasure, and thank you always for inspiring the way you do. Seriously, I just love you to bits. Yeah.